Good evening, my viewer. What a wonderful, wonderful day that the Lord has given unto us. Yet another day for us to grow. And like I always say, when we stop growing, we start dying. Hey ho, I don't want to die. I want to grow. And actually, my viewer, we are living in very different times. As a believer, I don't want to say difficult. I use the word different because these times have changed and things are changing. And one of the things that are changing even in our families is the fact that our finances are being affected. And this evening, I have a wonderful woman together with us. She's a doctor, and she's going to tell us her name and to tell us where she comes from and what she does. She's going to take us on a topic of how to manage our finances during this time of COVID-19 pandemic. Karibu to the show, Daktari.
Yes.
Tueleze umetoka wapi, and by the way, you look very beautiful.
Thank you.
I like your colors.
Yes.
God bless you. Karibu sana.
Thank you,
Yes.
Pastor Ruth. I am Dr. Njeri Gachohi. I come from Nakuru but live in Kiamunyi. I'm a teacher or lecturer, I can say that, but I started as a high school teacher.
Okay.
So my profession is a teacher. I'm a lecturer at Teacherton University.
Wonderful.
In the psychology department, because that is now my area.
Oh,
And I'm excited to be here back again.
Yes.
And thank you so much even for the invite.
Karibu sana.
Yes.
It's good to finally meet you, Daktari.
Yes.
Karibu sana, and I believe that today we are going to help families, especially a woman who is looking at us.
Yes.
In the area of finances, how to manage in this COVID-19, how to pull through
Yes.
without a lot of stress and depression. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Daktari, is it true that COVID-19 has come to alter family budget and finances?
Absolutely true. In fact, it's not that, okay, we can't say it has not been affected. I don't know who can say it has not been affected.
You're right.
It's not even only the families, but government, nations. The issue is this, as we are talking about now, these in times, as we call them, unusual times, is because we all of a sudden are spending on things that we never planned to.
Okay.
Now, whether it's a small thing like a mask, whoever thought you can be budgeting for a mask,
You're right.
which is now a necessity. We're talking about sanitizers and all that. You realize there are some things that may never have been part of the budget. So whether it was supposed to be for a cabbage and now you're taking that 50 bob to buy a mask, you realize that has also affected. Then the issues of where we have having children for a long time. Remember, they came in the middle of the term.
Yes.
We had already, those who were students in the university or in schools and primary, whatever, you paid the whole term fees.
Right.
Then they come and you had not budgeted for them. This was not a holiday. They are eating. And they are drinking. So that also has constrained or, on what you had already preserved for maybe those who are at home without now factoring those that were in school. And that's true, it has affected.
It has affected our families,
Yes.
finances and budgets.
Yes.
And what are the outcomes? What are the outcomes of this COVID-19 having affected our budget and finances?
The effect is that sometimes it strains us. The issue is how do we survive to the next day?
Yeah.
In case you are one who worked to earn what you call the daily bread, you are not that you are one who had a salary, whether you are not working or working, there is a salary. You'll find now it is the uncertainty of, do I really have enough for today?
Yeah.
So you may find yourself now wondering, what I have, do I have supplies enough for a week, for a day, or for a month? So you may realize that, I think I saw like what we saw in other countries where there was a buying out of everything.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had money, they had enough in store. So they went and bought. But here you realize, you'll find toilet paper not out. Yet
Yes.
that's what you've had in some Western countries. The first thing that went out of stock, toilet papers, I don't know what.
It was toilet papers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
tissue rolls.
Yes.
And I kept wondering, why toilet paper and tissue rolls?
Now they say something psychological about it is where you buy just even not knowing what you want to do with it. Because even those who bought a bale today, they've not used it. But sugar is over, everything else is over. But you realize buying a big thing with small amount, you feel like you have taken something home. It's psychological telling you that you've already kept for yourself something. Yet this is not something you can turn it to be food or any of other use, except its use.
You know, that one is making me laugh because I don't know. I honestly, I was not around during that time here. But did it happen here at home in Kenya also?
At first, maybe when they said there was the curfew, you could see the panic. There was a lot of buying, but not that extensive one. Maybe for those who have money, the salaried people and all that. But the rest is like, now if I buy toilet paper and tomorrow I will need cabbage, I will need tomato, I will need unga, what do I do? And simply you find that's why you find even supermarket, nothing went out of stock except maybe the sanitizers, the dental soap, the Protex. I went and I realized all those antibacterial soaps were out of stock within 1 day.
Within 1 day. You know why I'm asking that? Because I was not around. I was not in the country at that time. But where I was, actually, there was no tissue. And I kept wondering, why tissues alone? Now that you've mentioned that, I thought that was a bit funny. And anyway, Dr. What about in cases of a family right now whereby the woman is the sole breadwinner? How can she best support her husband without feeling the pressure that I am the only one carrying this load? And how can a single woman during this time of this pandemic support her children without feeling the pressure that that I am carrying this load alone?
Maybe what I would want to help that woman is this, as we call the unusual times, is where now whoever holds the fort will not have to accuse the other one that didn't come. Because you may realize at this time we will have the stronger supporting the weak. And maybe just like what Peter was told by Jesus Christ, that once you are strong, go and strengthen your brothers. So I believe at this time, if the woman is the breadwinner, this is not a time to say, now I'm the only one. Thank God that you have that time and those resources for this time. And just like maybe what Esther was told, who knows? Whether you don't have that ability or those finances for such a time as this. Once you take them through, no one will ever forget what you did. And even the children, I think it is important that it's no longer my money. It is now our family. And we must survive this through. Somebody made fun and said it's like we are again in Noah's Ark. Now who goes out? Who stays in?
You're right.
You don't like it? It is not fun. You know, even children are saying it's not fun. It isn't. Being indoors the whole day and not going out or even just within the compound is not fun.
It is true.
But even in the Ark, it was never fun.
You're right.
But they had to stay in because outside there were floods.
You're right.
But when it was time to get out, they all got out. So I'm thinking, this time as the woman, if God has given you that strength and that ability, please support your family. And it's not the time to say, hata nikufe, you know, let's say, ile umejiwekea hata kuwe na bragani siwezi toa. Kama mama, you know, if you have that, which you have kept for what you call the emergency. Kindly, I think this is the time for emergency. Get out that and let it be also used in the family. And for the single woman, and thank God that you are there, studying in for the children and for yourself, and helping your family to start, because you are going to have both roles. It can be overwhelming when you are the one who is going looking for food and you are the same one coming to cook it and maybe to serve it, and also maybe meet the needs and the anxieties of the children. So it can drain as the woman. Sometimes we say it gets even into our reserves. The reserves of, you know, of our personality, so that even when you don't want to be moody, even when you don't want to always, you know, shout, you'll find yourself shouting even when you don't. You come and it's like, you've been here, you've done nothing. And it's like, and they hear you at the gate, and they all scamper for safety because they know mom is in a full mood.
Yes.
Because, but you can ask God for grace, and God will help you, that even as you go out, God blesses you, have something, and you come, find your children all right, and tell them, we are going to pull this through. We are going to make it, and God is on our side.
Amen.
I think that's the encouragement.
Wow. Well, I like what you've said, Dr. And I believe that you heard what Dr. said, that it's time for us, if you're the sole breadwinner right now as a woman, ask yourself, like Esther was asked, who knows that you had that job and you have that job at this particular time for such a time as this. And you know what, Dr. I'm thinking, when we look at it that way as women, it changes our perspective.
Correct.
That
Correct.
God knew that I would be here at this particular time to just take my family through this.
Through this.
Yes.
Yes.
Other than like feeling that there's nothing my husband is doing. Because Dr. to be sincere, not even in this new normal that we are going through, even in time past, we've had women that thought like, no, this is too much. This is, and the issue of complaining and depression and stress begins to settle into them, and it changes the whole perspective. But I think that one of focusing and seeing that, who knows, that God gave me this particular job for this time to stand and to support my husband.
Indeed.
It changes the perspective.
It does.
And Dr. There's a case that we saw on TV, and that brought a lot of, I don't know, sadness, whereby this woman in Mombasa was boiling, I think she's a single mother, boiling stones for her children to get stone soup, for them to feed with ugali. She had prepared ugali. What is it that we can do as women, with whatever capacity, whether you have a job or you don't have a job, maybe doing the manual jobs in the village, that could help us? Because I believe kuna mama anatuangalia na atusikia na anasema labda mimi sina kazi. Tunaweza fanya aje sisi kama wamama hata wale wa kijijini, so that we are helped during these times, or such times, such pandemic times, that can help us even feed, like just feed our children.
Some of the things that we can do is where we can, sustain the family through maybe some of the small things that we can do. Maybe like what you can veda, some vegetables, some, get a, kibada and all that. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a big shop, but a small, shop, retail shop or kibanda, which you have those greens and those normal vegetables that can go. I'm wondering, when it comes to stones, I don't know whether stones could have become food, but what about just normal herbs that we can find elsewhere, whether it is terere and all that, those things can do. But I was saying, if we can have a small thing like a kibada or something, that can also help to supplement the budget if the man is the one who is working or even not working. The remains from the kibada can also be part of your food that day. And you may not go, though I believe this time, unless now it has been quite hard, because even before then, before this, our economy was not doing so well.
It was not doing well.
Yes, and mostly the women had been affected.
Okay. We keep watching with us, and this is the Virtuous Women Show. And honestly, I like what Dr. is bringing across. And when we come back after the short break, Dr. will tell us, like she has just said, even before this pandemic came, our economy was not doing very well. And it is said that 9 out of 10 Kenyans are complaining of meeting their bills. When we come back, we will look into that and see the way forward. Keep tracking with us. And like I've always said, my name is Reverend Ruth Kayo, and I'm the host of the Virtuous Woman Show. We'll be right back after this.